good morning and welcome to a live chat. You'll notice I'm not in the shack. I am in my house, so everything is set up differently. So if you can let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, all that sort of jazz, that would be great. This is my kitchen, basically. It's my dining table area. The reason we're doing this a bit different is that I have got the NBN guy out today and we are changing over to the U-Butte Australian Internet. By U-Butte, you know how facetious I am being. Look, he's actually been out already, but he only just left. So I didn't have time to go and put everything back out into the shack. Now, we're still technically running on the old system for now. The interweb guy that we had come out was lovely and was like, I am not going to mess with your system. When you are done your live stream today, and he's given me a list of little things to do, click, 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 and it's a very short list. Then I'll be on the NBN, but for right now we're still on our usual internet, I think. So the lighting is a bit different, and the setup is a bit different. The only reason this is like this is to cover the booze. We can't have booze in our shot unless, because YouTube will get upset. This is my booze cabinet. So this is what's going on today. I'm a bit out of whack. So just trying to focus and keep going because I'm looking at a huge space. Like instead of looking at the little, shelf, which I normally see through the camera, I'm looking through the home sort of office area into my bedroom, thinking, I'd like a nap about now. So that's where we're going for. So the other thing is, which you'll probably notice and you'll notice more and more going forward, is my voice will be changing a little bit. I'm on some new asthma medication and it's messing with my voice a bit. So if I'm sounding a bit deeper and a bit raspier, it is not the microphone, it's just how I sound now. So I've got a future career coming as someone who speaks with a deeper voice. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but we'll see if I can breathe better. I don't care. That's basically where I'm at. Like breathing, voice changing. I think I'm going to go with breathing. So I have tea today. I have my hot tea. I also have water. I have access to my coffee. I've just realised my coffee machine's still on. At some stage, we're going to hear some really weird noises coming from the coffee machine because it will turn itself off and it does like a self-clean thing. A voice for radio. Thank you, Jacob, for pulling that up out of the gutter for me. I appreciate that. Gamer Widow says, NBN is her nemesis, asthma is my mortal energy, and fantasy phone worker voice. Absolutely. I don't know about Darth Vader voice. It feels like it could turn into that, to be honest, but it's probably not going to. Breathing is always good. I agree with you, Kerry. Breathing is always good. It's just something that I would ideally love to keep doing. So, today's live stream. We're in a different location. I'm a little out of whack because I'm not in my usual space. But I am in my really new comfy chair, which I'm loving. Kim actually suggested that I need to buy a second one to put out in the shack. And I'm like so tempted, but not right now. So in today's live stream, we've got a couple of things that we're going to be doing. We have got our ARC donation. Jacob helped me iron out the kinks as to why I couldn't get it to work. It was as simple as a click of a button, believe it or not. I had to toggle something off. So hopefully that will all work. It's worked in the tests, but we'll see. So we've got our ARC donation for this week coming through. I want to talk about a new segment that we'll be bringing into the live streams. So there's that. So that will be exciting as well. And something else I realised last night, just before I went to bed, is that I forgot to put the Boonits code in for the replay viewers last week. So what I'm going to do is this week for our replay viewers, I'll put it in so we don't miss out. So there's no giveaway this week for the live streamers. I'm sorry for those of you in the live, so I'm very sorry about that. But if you want to catch the replay, I will make sure that I put the giveaway code in. So if you want another chance for that Boo Knits Cuckoo Waltz shawl, you guys know how I feel about Boo Knits. Boo Knits is the bomb diggity. If I could do Boo Knits all day long, if I could choose one knitwear designer to only ever knit, it would be Boo Knits. Sally is reminding us, Sally is one of our mods, and she's reminding us not to forget to put your chat into live chat instead of top chat, because YouTube decide what goes into top chat and sometimes comments are missed. So if you want to make sure you're reading everything, make sure you go into top chat. Jacob is reminding everybody to hit that thumbs up. So thank you, Jacob. And he's saying, if you're having a good Thursday, hit that thumbs up. But if you're not in Australia, if you're having a good Wednesday, hit that thumbs up as well. So, because it's 10 o'clock in the morning here on a Thursday morning, and it's not for everybody. So, should we do our ARC donation first? Let me know in the chat if you'd like to see that go through first. I've got some crochet here. The title of today's talk is Have You Lost Your Crochet or Crafting Mojo? I did notice that Andrea or Die Wench, here we go, coffee machine's doing its thing. I did notice that Die Wench was actually talking about how she's lost her Crojo, and Spanichick is so confused. Why are you confused, Spanichick? I see you've changed from Kim to Spanichick, by the way. And Die Wench has finally got the house to herself. For those of you that don't know, here in Australia, our kids have gone back to school. Some on Tuesday, some on Wednesday. So some of us are very excited. It is really, really exciting that the kids have gone back. And like, I've got the house to myself, and that's why I was like, I just would like to go and have a nap because I can. And no one's going to be like, Mom, can you do this thing? And Mom, can you run me to this place? Mom, I'm so bored. So yeah, it is definitely nice that the kids are back at school. Hello, Apple DNA. So we've got, this sort of thing happening. So some Australian mums have got their kids out the door. So it's like we're free people again. We're like, woohoo! Our time is sort of our own. So hey, Lisa, I finally figured out how to sign into YouTube. Can't find the thumbs up. If someone could tell Lisa where the thumbs up button, that would be great. Kim's having some tech problems at her place. Is anybody else having tech problems with today's video? Now don't forget to let me know when this camera stops working. I will try to remember. It's nice to get kids off to school, but it's also good when they are back to school. It's nice to get kids off. Yeah, it is. It's crabby. No, I've got a crabby Abby. So, are we going to do the ARC donation first, or are we going to get into our talk about Crojo and getting your crafting mojo back and how I do it? Now, everybody does it a bit differently. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to talk about Crojo for a little while. We can pause it and make our donation. And so, yeah. So basically, sometimes you sit down and you just don't want to do any of the projects you've got. They're not inspiring. You're not excited by what it is that you're working on. It's not to say the pattern is bad. It's not to say the yarn is bad. It's just that in your brain, it's just like, nah. Don't want to do that one. Nah. Don't want to do that. You look on Ravelry, you're like, nah. None of them look good. Don't feel like it. And sometimes it comes down to the fact that you're just tired. You need a break. You need to step back. You need to go and do something outside. So pop your craft down and just step back. Go and find a different project to do. So even if it's just a walk around the shops, if it's a walk through a yarn store, if you want to. Like sometimes for me that's worse. It depends on where I'm at. And sometimes I just need to do something not yarn craft related. So I'll go on like a tangent of like screen printing or diamond dotting or something, and I'll just totally just not even try. But sometimes I really, really want to work on something, but I just can't get back into the swing of it. I just can't decide what to work on, and you don't really want to start a new project because you feel guilty because you've got all these projects over here that need doing. So you don't want to start something new. So what I tend to do in those instances is actually, I do start something new, but it's small. So just here, I'm going to move that out of the way and bring some stuff in. And go into our top-down camera, lords and ladies of the interwebs. Whoops, wrong screen. There we go, double camera. Okay, so what I do is I find a stitch dictionary, and as you guys know, I've just recently gotten Crochet Every Way, and I love this stitch dictionary a lot. And as I was using it more this week, a lot more. So my brain has not been on craft. It's not been in the right place at all. I've had some stuff going on, and it's just, I've been like a total ditz, right? And so I needed something just different that was easy. So what I do is I grab a ball of Bendigo cotton or whatever cotton, I pick a pattern, and for this particular instance, I couldn't choose. I'm like flipping through, like looking at all the things, like, oh, that's nice, and I wanted that one, but I don't feel like it. And I'm sitting here for 25 minutes deciding which one of these to just do a swatch on. So I was like, right, if you can't choose, start at page number 1. So what I did was I popped on a show. I sat in my craft room, surrounded by all my goodies. These are all the instructions on, how to use the book. Now, I didn't do the single crochet or the half double crochet because they're just stitches I knew how to do, right? Hang on, there we go. I went straight into closed stitches and I started with seed stitch. There we go. I now have a beautiful little cotton face washer in seed stitch. I've still got to weave in the ends, obviously. I haven't gotten that far, but I just was like, okay, so I followed the instructions for the basic pattern, and I just made, and it's beautiful and it's soft, and now I have something. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to plan it, because I always have some sort of cotton in the house because I'm cotton obsessed, and I just worked on it. I'm just going to have a quick read here in the chat before I go on. Where are we? Allegra says, that's when I play more WoW than crafting. Absolutely. And I do the same thing. I go and jump on Stardew Valley and just play a game for a while. Or even, I'm currently obsessed with a phone game right now, so I'm working on that. Just checking something here. Yep, lots of people have been stuck. When I have, Spanish Chick says when she has no Crojo, she plays mindless games on her phone. Yeah, and I do that as well. I've been playing something called Lily's Garden. It's just a mobile game. It's just one of those matching game things. Jackie says, my problem is that once I have worked out the pattern, solved the problem of what I need to do, then I get bored and want a new thing to figure out. Well, I mean, that's another thing. See, so you've got project and process crafters, right? I'm a process crafter. I like to craft because I like to craft, not because I want the end product. Whereas it sounds like you might be a process crafter trying to force yourself to being a project-based crafter. So some people start a project, finish it, it's awesome. Whereas there's a lot of us who sort of start projects, get into the groove, and then put it down. And that's a project versus process crafter. That's both knitting, crochet, and lots of other things as well. So I like the process of the learning and the doing, which is why I do this. But I also end up with something, so I don't feel like it was a total waste of time. So I did the seed stitch. I'm just going to bring this over a little. And then I turned the page, and I did the single crochet column. Where are you? Is that you? Yep, there we go. The single crochet columns. And I was still not good, so I turned the page and I did the single crochet V-stitch, right? And so far I've made myself 3 beautiful cotton face washes, and then I turned the page and I started on what's called the threesome stitch. I'm not sure I'm a fan of that. I ran out of cotton is what happened. I didn't get it finished and I ran out of cotton, but I'll tell you what I also ran out of. I ran out of my funk. I was totally, okay, I've got all these face washes now. I feel like I achieved something. I got to use my new book, and I got to use up a ball that was sitting in my stash. And so I've got to tick off all these things, and it made me feel better. It made me feel like, hey, you know what? You can work on that project now because your brain is cleared up a little. You've gotten rid of the funk or the fog of the apathy of the don't want to do that, don't want to do that, I'm over that. You've achieved something. You've made yourself a nice pile of beautiful quality spa face washes. You've learnt something. You've got to use something so you don't feel like, oh, I buy all these things and then never use them, because that goes through my head as well. So it's like a really big, like for me, this is how I get out of the funk. And it doesn't always work. And I have to say that as well. It depends on how deep things are. So I had to use phone games, lots of time trying to distract myself from things where I had to concentrate on stuff as well. But this tends to work for me 90% of the time. And I probably get into a funk once or twice a year. And so I just, I end up with a nice little stockpile of face washes. And if you end up making way more than you need, these are beautiful gifts. Fold it up, weave in the ends first, obviously. Fold it up, put it with a nice block of handmade soap from a local soap maker, and fold it nicer than what I did. Put a ribbon around it, and that's a great teacher's gift or just a feel better gift for a friend, and it's like you've made it and you can stockpile it. So I'm just going to scroll back in the chat here. Apple DNA says that she paints or plays video games. Absolutely. Spanish Chick says she always gets confused with seed stitch, linen stitch, moss stitch. So many people use the terms to describe the same stitch, but others have them as different stitches. Yeah, that's definitely a thing. And that was something that I'm not sure, like those of you that know, I was working on I've got a whirl, like a black throaty yellow whirl. And I was starting on this crochet top, and I really liked the look of the top, but I couldn't deal with the pattern because the designer is one of those designers that makes up their own stitch names. And so I couldn't flow through the pattern properly. It was really driving me up the wall. So I pulled it out and I moved on to another designer who actually uses the normal stitch names, and I'm making a beautiful shawl, and I'm feeling much better about it. But yeah, sometimes people call the same thing something different, and some people mean something different by it. It's sort of like in Australia when we talk about sweaters and jumpers and stuff like that. Like we mean one thing by it, other people mean another thing by it, and sometimes they mean the same thing and sometimes they mean different things. So it's a bit confusing. Where are we? I've missed some stuff. I'm going to go in and read. Talia says, I lost my Crojo so bad a couple of times that she almost sold all of her craft stuff. Oh, that's a deep Crojo, that one. And you know what? Sometimes we as a person grow and change, and our tastes change and our situation changes, and sometimes we have to do this stuff. I see a lot of dyers who do it. They just decide, you know what? I am out. And they sell everything. They get rid of it. And sometimes they're happier for it, and sometimes 2 years later they're like, you know what, I regret that. I should have just held on to it, and now I'm buying it all back again. There's never anything wrong with destashing, says Chantel, who just had a big destash. Sometimes you need to do that because it clears your brain. And when you go back in later, 2 years down the track or something like that, or a year down the track or 6 months down the track, you've got you're starting from scratch, and you're like, right, I know I don't like that, so I'm not even going to waste my money on it. I'm going to buy this other thing straight up. And so, it's what you've got and you know what you want. So sometimes that's a good thing as well, because I know for me, like having to go through this craft room sort of over here, there's my craft room in there, having to go through that, and I had some wonderful help with that. It made me realise that my tastes and styles have changed so much over the last few years, and my time has changed. So I've got a small house, and it is filled to exploding with craft stuff. So what I'm going to be doing over the coming months is like having little destashes just to move things on, because I'm not going to use them. They might not be my color style anymore. They might not be my taste anymore. I just may not have, like with some of these fibers that I destashed, I love them and they're beautiful, but I know I'm not going to get time in the next 12 months to spin them, and I don't want them to be damaged or wasted in any way. They're too beautiful to waste, so I want them to move on to people who've got time to do it. Sometimes you just need to make those decisions. I'm just having a quick read here. Diamond says she's got a tradie fixing the neighbour's roof and another one across the road installing solar panels. Like, how rude. My new neighbour, so the guy who lived next door who did all the fire burning and stuff, he's moved interstate for a little while and he's rented the house out to a mate. He is a bit different than my old neighbour was, and less in the way of fires, which is fantastic for Chantal with breathing problems, but more in the way of noise. So I'm just like, oh, I can't cope, and I just never know when it's going to be either. So it's a bit stressful. Where are we? I missed something. I'm just double checking I'm in live chat. Yep, I'm in live chat. You guys are having a nice chat amongst yourselves. Allegra says, what I wanted to make 4 years ago, I definitely have zero interest in now. And I am with you, Allegra. I've got stuff that I bought years and years ago that I bought it for special, or I bought it as a treat or a reward or something. It's beautiful stuff. It's not my taste. I don't like the colour. I've found out I'm allergic to alpaca, so I'm destashing a lot of alpaca because I bought entire fleeces, beautiful alpaca fleeces, and I can't use them. So I'm destashing a lot of stuff. So, there's nothing wrong with moving it on. Oh, I spotted it, you guys. But I think I also pushed my camera down a little bit as well. So we'll see. Because standards change too. You start to not like lower quality. Yeah, standards definitely change. We become more picky about what we do with our time. And it's not necessarily about lesser or more quality, because there's some acrylics that I'm like, yeah, man, I really like that. Whereas before I'm like, acrylics, oh, who uses acrylic? I tend to love cotton, right? And so I've always got these balls of Bendigo cotton floating around. And so I finished this off and I got my Crojo back. I was like, okay, what am I going to work on next? But I still had to be cautious because I still couldn't work on some of the projects because they were a bit too brain heavy for me. I still needed something easy. So with my newfound Crojo, hang on, I've just got to, there we go. I found a couple of balls of yarn in my stash of some 8-ply Bendigo cotton, and I've just decided to make a little straight up granny like knee rug. It's like 1.5 meters long, and I'm just going to make it hopefully wide enough, but this is all I have. I don't have any more. And this is the papaya colorway, so the 8-ply papaya. They don't sell it anymore, so I'm going to have a look and see if I can get my hands on it. This is parchment. I can totally get more parchment, but this is papaya, and it's this beautiful soft apricot. So this was their peachy color, and that's the papaya. And I mean, I probably would have alternated them, but this is a 10-ply and this is an 8-ply. So the yarn weights were different as well. Cottage Keeper, welcome to the chat. I haven't seen your name in ages. Is there a way to build up to crocheting longer? I have tennis elbow and it aches when I crochet over about 20 minutes and I'm so frustrated with it. Okay, Cottage Keeper, when you have tennis elbow, that's a tendon problem. That is a serious issue and you need to watch out for it. But in saying that, there's actually this little strap that you can buy. It's a little Velcro long piece with this weird piece of, looks like wetsuit fabric. And you strap it on and it actually protects your tendon and you can work for longer. Other than that, your tendon actually needs a break. But what this particular little thing does, it actually helps you. It was one of the things, guys remember when I crushed my hand and I've got, the tendinosis in my arm? That was one of the things I had to look out for, was looking after the tendon here. So pain through here was unbelievable. And this little strap, you wear it around like here, it pushes down on the tendon. You don't make it so tight you can't move, obviously, but you make it tight enough that you can feel it. And I realized I could work pretty well like normal. And when I was talking to my physio about it, I was like, okay, do I have to be extra careful now because I'm not noticing when it's tired? She's like, no, you're not making it tired. That's the point. This thing is stopping it from getting damaged. So have a look out for one of those. It's probably got a proper name. I have no idea. So but keep an eye out for that. But tennis elbow and carpal tunnel, they're actually injuries and you have to be careful. So make sure you're also doing a lot of the good stretches. So to stop yourself from getting, I don't know if you guys can see me, you need to stretch your hand and pull your fingers back and hold that, and then bring it forward and pull it under. So you're stretching the top and the bottom. So you need to make sure you're doing this. So you have your arm outstretched and do this a few times on each arm, and stretch your fingers up and wiggle everything around. So, you know, and move it to the side. You've got to get everything moving. But if you're in pain, you need to stop, is basically what it boils down to. So check out some little options. I picked mine up from the pharmacy. There was no problems at all. And yeah, it was, or was it physio that I can't remember if I got it from physio or the pharmacy, but wherever it was easy to get. Here we go. I'm just having a quick read. Hello, Sadie Spincraft. I'm new to the live and I'm usually asleep by now. Well, I hope you enjoy the live. And that, you know, if you don't need to be asleep, that you can manage to stay up and have fun. I don't know. So yeah, this is really pretty. And because it's like a nice 8-ply or DK cotton, it's so soft. And I found myself the other day just sitting here doing this. Like I was watching, because I normally work at my little desk and I've got a monitor and I put on like, you know, Netflix or something. And I was sitting there and rather than actually crocheting, I was just doing this. And I realized I have not lost my passion for the fibers. So this is just pure cotton, Australian cotton from Bendigo Woolen Mills. And so yeah. Sonographers use them as well to help with their tendons, absolutely. Darwin says, I did something good. It's sad to hear you are struggling. Oh, Joss, where's Joss? Is Joss not good today, had a bad night, stayed home today, just woke up and realised live chat thanks to Darwin's message. Yay. Well, I'm glad. Poor Joss has hurt herself and I'm hoping that you're propped up and you're comfortable. And you just, you know, you've got to look after yourself. That's the thing. This is the overall message in injuring ourselves, is we have to look after ourselves because no one else is going to do it. I have to keep reminding myself of this, that I have to take the time to care for myself. And, you know, with some of this stuff that's been going on behind the scenes here, one of the things is I need to have some health days and actually take time and be careful to really just not injure ourselves more and to care about ourselves. Sadie Spincraft says, I found you when I was looking how to prep a bat, so thanks to you so much for that video. Oh, you're welcome, Sadie. Dizzing bats, I'm assuming that's the video you saw, was the Dizzing the Bat video. That video was so much fun to make. And it was also a real eye-opener for me because bats were always something that I was a bit daunted about. I loved making bats, but I very rarely spun them. I would give them away or just let them, you know, compress in my stash and eventually throw them away. Until I realised I could diz them because I don't enjoy spinning textured yarns that much. I really like spinning a fine, thin yarn. Where are we? Dizzing the bat. I normally do something to my ankle or head. Oh, there you go. Rest, exercise, and nutrition are all great self-love. You're right, Jacob. They are all great. And they all take energy and thought. You have to think about it and you have to plan it, as Jacob is more than aware. Darwin says, she's talking about a project she's working on. The dizzing video was fun for Spanish because she learnt some new words. Where are we? I can't make them as I sadly don't have a drum carder, and I'm the same for the fine yarn. Yeah. We used to, like, as a group, I used to be a member of Queensland Spinners and Fibre Arts, which is a local spinning guild, and which I'm going to rejoin this year, which is my goal. And one of the things, we used to have these things called bat parties. And so there was a couple of us that had drum carders, but not everybody did. But what everyone would do would be bring, like, okay, everyone has to bring 100 grams of fibre. And what we'd do is put it on the table, and everyone could make a bat or two using any of the fibres. And so more often than not, everyone would bring way more fibre, and they'd bring, like, bits of glitz and all sorts of fun stuff to throw in it. And we'd all end up with, like, these very different but beautiful bats. And sometimes it would be so tricky. What we would do is everyone would make all these bats, then we would have them all rolled up, and we'd put numbers on them, and everyone would randomly draw out a number, and that's the bat they'd get as well. So you couldn't just be like, stuff your bat full of all the amazing things and be like, that is mine, thank you very much. It was really fair, and it was fun, and you could make bats in colours you wouldn't use, and it was just a fun thing to do. So I really miss doing bat parties. Jackie's saying, we are our most important piece of equipment we own, and pain is a sign of something is not right. If it hurts, stop, working out what's wrong, and talk to a doctor or physio and fix the problem. I agree, 100%. Hey Mel, welcome back to the chat. She's had brain surgery just over a year ago and have acquired a brain injury now. I'm always being reminded to be kind to myself. It's so important. It is. And we're the first person to not be kind to us. And so when other people are, I just realised I like bumped into this table, but it's so solid, nothing shook. Sorry, total divergence. But we're the first people to be not kind to ourselves. And it's sometimes just by like neglect, which is what's been going on with me. I've just been focusing on the other things, and I haven't been looking after me as well as I should. And so, you know, and so our first step is our neglect, and then it's allowing other people to be unkind to us. And so the first thing you need to do is stop being unkind to yourself and care and look after yourself. Because sometimes a physical ailment is what causes your Crojo or Mojo, your Crojo or your Crafting Mojo to disappear. And it's a brain thing. It's where your mind is at. Sometimes it's not through, you know, sometimes it's you're just feeling off, and we all have off days. But if it's perpetual and ongoing, you need to look into the reasons. But if there's no real reason, which is, you know, my reason was I was distracted, and I was really, so I just see I'm doing it again. I just keep patting the fabric. I should get my hook out. But my reason was I was just so distracted by some other things that it was really making it hard for me to focus on important things for fear of stuffing them up. So I was doing nothing. And so this way, getting back into it slowly, I got something done, and I've gone forward from there. Does anyone else ever feel guilty for crafting instead of working on housework? Any tips? Thank you all so much. You've obviously not been to my house. I craft way more than I do housework, and my house is this dusty mess pit, and I've just found out I'm allergic to dust mites, and so now I have to really do something about it. Generally, what I would recommend is, have you guys ever heard of Fly Lady? Like she was around like 5-10 years ago. I don't know if she's still around, where you would give your house zones, and you would do like 15 minutes here and 15 minutes there, and you'd literally set timers and stop and keep doing it. So I would like set these timers, do 15 minutes in the kitchen, and I would just like work feverishly, because you could do like 4 lots of 15, like do 15 minutes in the kitchen, 15 minutes in the lounge, 15 minutes in the bathroom, and then have an hour's break. And I'd be like, yeah, get all this done, and then I'll sit and craft. And it's about balance. Now it's hard when you've got a kid walking around behind you remaking all the mess, and that is disheartening to say the least, but it's life really. And now I just need to really get back into that. So I'm going to get some help to get back on top of everything. because I can't do a lot of the dust eradication because my breathing is so bad. But yeah, it is, and as Spanish Chick just said, housework doesn't stay done. Crochet does. So unless you hate it, and frog it, of course. But yeah, so it's balance. It's just balance. Because I'm like you, I just want to be sitting and crocheting all day. Or knitting, or spinning. I want to be crafting all day. But I've got other stuff I've got to do. I've got Fibrific to run. I've got orders to process. I've got Mystery Lace Club to die for. I have got a family to care for. We've all got this huge list of things that have to be done, but we also have to look after ourselves. So I consider my crochet time as part of my self-care, and sometimes I just have to focus on that. Diamond says, I loved Fly Lady. I made a whole folder of her tips and tricks and followed it as best as I could. Haven't done that for a while now. Me too. I probably still got it somewhere. It wasn't terrible. I couldn't deal with the whole filling the sink with water thing overnight because water restrictions. We've got water restrictions. Lindsay Shadow has ordered diamond dots to have a go. I, as you probably worked out, I'm a bit obsessed. I have not purchased a second diamond dots because I was so addicted to the first one. I couldn't do it. So I was so sorry, I couldn't do other things. I just was focusing, I need to finish this. I want to finish it. Oh my God, I need to finish it. So now it's all finished. And I meant to get a frame for it last time I was at IKEA and I haven't yet. So I've got to remember next time I'm at IKEA, I need a frame for my diamond dots. Allegra says, wait, what? What am I doing? I haven't gone super deep into the Fly Lady stuff. But I have heard a few of the WTF aspects. Yeah, there's a few of them. There's not heaps. Like, for the most part, it's pretty good. And, it's like anything. You just do the bits that suit you. For me, it was the 15-minute timers, reminding myself to have a break. I don't have to do it all now. And also watching the hot spots, as she calls them, which I'm looking at right now. I've got a kitchen bench covered in stuff. Like, it's like bread and tissue box and a fruit bowl and key bowl and... But then there's notepads, and I've noticed there's sunscreen there, and there's extra glasses cases. It was always that sort of thing. I do have a great space for working on my diamond dots now. But if I have the diamond dots, I'm going to work on that, and I've got other things I want to do. I really do. Hey, Marion, welcome to the chat. It's been ages. So don't forget to hit that like button if you're in the chat here, guys. Where are we? Ozabs is saying, I think I need to meet up with peeps who craft to make me do something. Was totes into crafting again after camp last year. I honestly think you're right there, Abs. I think that having a group to who shares your level of excitement. I feel that way about this chat, honestly. And also Caffeinated Crafters, which meets up on the 6th of February is our next meeting. But yeah, we definitely have these moments in life where these people are as passionate as we are about similar things. And that definitely helps you to feel excited and want to make things and get it done. Whereas when you don't have someone around you and you're in a vacuum and you're doing it all by yourself, sometimes it's very easy to get sucked in to stuff. Yeah. Sadie is off to go to sleep as she has to be up in 6 hours. I have a fantastic sleep, Sadie. Thanks for joining in the chat. Allegra is saying, sure, you can throw away stuff that doesn't serve you anymore if you don't have any worries about buying it again when you need it. Yeah, there's that as well. And I'm a bit of a hoarder. Because of how I grew up, I don't like to throw things away that I may need. Like I don't keep old newspapers and things, but I do have craft magazines that I'll be destashing soon. Friends are great for Mojo, as long as they're good friends. I agree with you, Jacob, 100%, because not everybody helps you in these instances. Some people assist you in staying in your wallow rather than helping to lift you out of it and dust you off. So, you've got to have good friends who pick you up rather than lay down next to you. Although sometimes it's nice just to have everyone just laying down going, yeah, this is rubbish. But then we all go, okay, come on, let's move on. Spinning group Monday and a sit and sew on Friday and everything else in between. Yeah, that sounds so balanced and good. I love that. I'm just checking to see what I've got to do here. It's a second sew. Because I've just been cheating a bit. I've been carrying the thread up the side because I'm going to put, hopefully, a little border on. So I'm not too worried about having the bits there. I'm actually not that worried about it at all, even if I don't put a border on it. Some friends are total enablers. Kim. Yeah. All right. The first row of the peach has a second one. Hang on. Let's twist it around. Stop that. All righty. Go over there. Parchment. Oh, fingers working. Oh my gosh. So I'm struggling with my fingers a little bit. Oh my gosh, because I don't know if you can see it, but I cut my hands the other day. So one cut there and another cut there. They're not bleeding, but they're catching on everything, and it's making me crazy. I'm too bossy to be enabler. No, you're definitely an enabler. Spanish chick does not let you wallow much. No, you don't. But you do, how do I put it? You do acknowledge the wallow, but then move on. Plus steroids give you the shakes. Yeah. Although it's not ideal, but we're getting there. We're definitely improving. I can breathe a little bit better this week, so that's nice too. Do you have a YouTube video for knitting cast on for crocheters? I don't actually. Maybe I should. I'm looking for some new things to make videos on, so maybe I should do that. I'm getting sucked into my project right here, so I've got worked out where I'm up to. I'm onto this next color, so I'm going to put it down for just a second, because I want to do our, Hey Day says, nice matchy manicure. It matches my project. I didn't even realize. Oh, wow. Okay. Thanks, Hey Day Designs. Welcome to the chat as well. Yeah, for knitting cast on for crochets. Look, no, I don't. But there's a nice provisional cast on that uses a crochet hook that you could look for. So a crochet provisional cast on. So, Kerry Randall says, I work in a library. I always have annoying paper cuts. Yeah, I did this with a metal bar. My hand slid up it and cut. So it's like a fine, it was just a little burr in this metal. But anyway, Kathy says, I used to do continental knitting, but it's been 30 years. I've got some continental knitting videos, if that would help, but I don't think there's any cast-ons for it. Not specifically for crocheters. Do we need to find a nice blue for her to throw in? Yeah, there's that beautiful, the straight up Bendigo pale purple. I wonder if I definitely had some. I'm like, but I don't know if I had it in an 8-ply. I may have had it in a 4-ply, but yeah. So I'm going to change our screen over, okay? We're going to go and do our ARC payment for this week. And we're going to get that done now. So while I remember, because I don't want to forget, all right? And I also want to see if this works, you guys. It's going to work. All right, so let's go to our donation screen. I've already plugged in some of the information. I hope you can still hear me. Let me know if you can still hear me. So our 10% of our sales this week is $52. I'm going to be popping in a little tip of $2 straight in for the GoFundMe so they can afford to keep doing this sort of thing. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to pay secure. We've got our $52, a $2 tip. It's going in under Chantel Hills because it doesn't seem to let me do it under Fiberific. And I'm going to a PayPal payment. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm not going to let you guys watch this, I'm just going to pop back here while I go to PayPal and make my payment. Give me 1 second while we do this. And we will get that payment in. Pay now. And then we'll go, let me just check that is all nothing. Yep, there we go. Oh, oops, wrong screen. Wrong screen. Let's go back to our donation screen and you can see somewhere that I donated. Let me see. Does it show me? I should have an email telling me. But yeah, you just go straight to this screen. But there we go. So we've made our payment. We've donated our $52. It should appear. Last week I had a lovely person whose name I can't remember, I'm so sorry, actually send me a screenshot when Fiberific appeared in the, well, Chantel Hills appeared in the list. So I appreciate that as well. So we've made our donation for this week. And we're going to go back to our double camera. There we go. Back to our camera. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and just have a quick look here. Kathy says, I watched 2 of your knitting videos. You do such a good job. Thank you. Bob Curran says, steaking. Are you trying to scare me? You may as well have written big hairy spider on your shoulder, honestly. Oh, Jacob, yes, I've been wondering the same thing. Are you all enjoying the new videos that are coming back for Fiberific each week? I can't use your credit card for my crafting needs then. Lisa needs some alpaca combs. Yeah, no. Sally's waiting on some yarn from Fiber Lily so she can make her 3rd blurred line sweater. Oh my gosh. Spanichick says, if you watch my rainbow sock vid, there's a stretchy cast on. There's also just one called the super stretchy cast on. It's not specific for crocheters, but it's a really great stretchy cast on. Yeah. So let me know if you are enjoying our Tuesday videos that have been coming out for the last couple of weeks. And yeah, that would be great. I'd be really interested. My tea's getting cold. I forgot to put the lid back on the cup. That's terrible. Yes, sad times. Sorry about that. Maybe we could show off the latest vid at the end of the stream. I could try. I don't know how it'll go. Yeah. But speaking of new things, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a new segment that we're going to be bringing into the live chat. So today will be more of a discussion on what it means rather than actually doing it. But what we're going to be having is, let me just go to the screen here, is Fix My Stitch. So Jacob's made us this really cute graphic for this. Thank you, Jacob. And basically, Fix My Stitch is going to be a segment that we're going to try and do weekly if we can, if we have enough people who send me photos or emails with descriptions. So basically, it's going to be me helping, if I can, you to get your project going again. So if you've dropped stitches or you're struggling with colours or something bad has happened, you just can't work it out, send me some photos either to my email or through Instagram or even hashtag #FixMyStitch, and I will see what we can do. We can have it as a segment for our Not Dying week. So we've got our dying episodes and then we'll have our not dying episodes where we can do some more interactive stuff. I just realised I went to the wrong camera angle. I want a double camera. Thanks, double camera. Because I want to crochet again. But yeah, so what do you think? Do you think it would work? Sally says she's only going to be doing one colorway this time. Fiberific, I haven't watched all of your new videos, but I have enjoyed the ones I've seen. Thank you, Christine. I'm glad to hear that. This week's video was on frogging and tinking, which I actually, believe it or not, like I saw so many people in one of those big Facebook knitting groups asking about tinking all the time. So I tried to share the video in that group because they don't not allow videos that are useful. Like they've got like self-promo rules and things like that, which I totally get. But I actually wrote in there like, hey, I've seen that a lot of people have asked this question in this group. I did make a video. I understand if it's, you know, if it's not appropriate, but, you know, just let me know. And they disallowed it. So there's a whole pile of people who need to know what tinking and frogging are that aren't going to know because their group moderators said no. I know it's a slippery slope, but I'm just like, this was a really helpful video. So I feel a bit like, where are we? Was this segment 6 months ago? Where was this segment 6 months ago when I needed it? Soz, it's here now, better than not at all. Spanish Chick says, I can give you my pink linen top where I didn't account for the smaller needle size and therefore should have done more rows between the decreases. But see, you know what you needed to do. You don't need my help. You know what you need to do to fix that one. You fixed it yourself. You just don't want to do the work. Chintami says, sounds good, especially for those that don't know how to fix stuff. Yeah. Or sometimes, like, even myself, I'll look at something and I'll be like, what have I done to this? This is wrong. What have I done? Ugh, I can't fix it. And then it's just a fresh set of eyes. Sometimes I've just got to wait till the next day and I have a look at it. And then it was just like, that's the problem. I can fix that. So Lindsay says, this might sound weird, but the tinking video made me think of laddering down to fix stitches, and then I actually enjoy doing that. I actually don't mind doing that either. I've got no problems with laddering down, as long as I'm not laddering down through like lace or cables, because that I hate. Mel says that she liked that video. She'd never heard of tinking before then. Oops, there we go. I'll just get that back up again. Let's see if that works. There we go. We're going again. Excellent. Ayubabsa says frogging has led to a loss of your Crojo. It can be really disheartening at times. I had to look at a project I was working on earlier or late last year. It was that green shawl. And I realized I had to pull back, I think it was 40 rows or whatever it was about 8 hours of work. And I had to pull back because I'd made a huge mistake and I wasn't increasing on the second side. And I pulled it back and I basically could reball a ball of yarn, like a ball of 4-ply. And I was so disheartened, but at the same time, I really wanted to fix that. So I did. I just sat back down and got back into it. I reballed it and then gave it a break for a day or two and then finished it. But it is hard sometimes. It is so disheartening when you realise you've stuffed something so far back. And crochet and like knitting, you can't just drop a stitch and pick something up. You've got to pull it back and undo all the work. Shintami says, I have a shawl that has a hole and I need to fix it, but I have no idea how. I'll bring it to the next IKEA. That'd be awesome, Chintamani. Sally says, so many times I've had to do that knitting and frogged the whole thing because I couldn't work out what I'd done. Sometimes, for me, I just find it easier to restart. So, yeah. Jacob saying, Chintami, do you have any photos you could share so we could feature it next week? Yeah, you can send them to me. Kerry says, great that you showed how to remount your stitches for those who do not know the anatomy of the stitches. Yeah, and like, you know, that's the thing. Not everybody, like some of us have learnt to knit and we do things by rote. We don't always understand the construction of what we've done or how to undo something properly because we just do it. And it's a bit of like muscle memory. But yeah, it's important to remember how you've made the stitch if you need to undo it. Most cotton I've found I don't like. I got some from Steph for Christmas and I love it. I haven't used it yet, but I'm looking for a special project. Yeah, look, I've got a thing about this Bendigo cotton. It's just soft and drapey and it's lovely to use. I mean, I'm not always the happiest with the color choices, but I love the texture of it and it lasts really well. Like I've got a couple of blankets on my couch that have been used hard and they're in 4-ply cotton. And they just get pounded and I just toss them in the washing machine because the dog sleeps on them sometimes, you know, she's up on the couch and, you know, it's just, they get pounded hard and it's just so nice. And it gives you a nice weight for your blanket. And here in Queensland, we want the weight and the comfort of a blanket, but without the heat, like the burning heat that you get. So even now in the depths of summer, where it is ridiculous temperatures, at night we still want to pull a little rug over our knees. So using cotton for that's really nice. So yeah, it's awesome. It's totally awesome. So for those of you wondering, most of you probably know, but this is a Clover Amore hook. These are my current favorite hooks at the moment. They mean that even though I've got tendinosis in my arm, which is still an ongoing issue. It's not totally healed yet. It's getting there, but it's not 100%. It means that I can still work and I can still crochet because it gives me something nice and soft to grippy too. And it just, for me, it just sits nicely. Now, if you're the thing I like is I'm a pencil gripper. So there's people who hold their hooks like this, so like a pencil. And then there's people who go overhand and use it like a knife. And I used to be a knife gripper and I changed over to pencil a few years back and I found that it worked better for me. I do find though that when I'm doing like a big hook, like a 15 mil or something, I prefer to go knife for that. For the pencil grip, it's just like, but you know, here it's easier anyway. But I've been really enjoying the Clover Amore hooks. They're over on the fibrific.com page, .com.au I should say. I'm not sure if we've got a full range of sizes, but we've got quite a lot of them sitting there at the moment. So if you've never tried one, you should totally give it a try. Or you can follow, if you're not in Australia, you can follow my Amazon page link. It's in the description below and you can purchase them from Amazon and that still helps Fibrific as well. Where are we? Jacob can't spell fix my stitch. That's weird, Jacob. Sally says I actually have a C2C blanket that are getting holes in it where I've added a new ball of yarn and not by a magic knot. What do you think is the best way to fix that? Sally, you should send me some photos and I can have a good look at it because it will depend and I'll need to see it. But I've got a couple of ideas. There's a couple of options in how you could fix it. But yeah, just a photo would be really helpful. I wish they were smoother and shinier colors, but then you're heading into mercerized territory, which loses the softness and the puffiness. Yeah, that's 100% correct. These are definitely not mercerized cotton. The second you start going shiny cotton, it is so much stiffer. And I like the nice soft, like this is baby blanket soft. You know, this is like, you could make a cot blanket out of this and it'd be soft enough, no problems at all. I mean, I wouldn't recommend this crochet stitch for a little baby, but you could totally knit up a beautiful blanket in it and it's so soft and beautiful. AU ABS says, I love my clovers with my achy, overused hands. They love me. Yeah, I started using the soft grips or the squishy grips a few years back. Excuse me, sorry. I was working for Jenny King Designs, and I was stitching, and I could be stitching for sort of 12 hours a day, but I was getting a lot of problems with my wrist and hand because I was using just standard sort of like buoy metal hooks. And with just that much crochet, I needed some sort of give in my hand so that I was not like injuring myself is really what it boiled down to. And so, yeah, I think back then, that's when I got my first tulip hooks. And they are good. I like those as well, but I just find these sit in my hand nicer. Like, I still got my tulip set and I love it. But I find that the clovers just, I don't know, they sit in my hand nicer. So that's why I stick with the clovers for now. Natalie says, I'm currently working on a blanket with Bendigo cotton. I'm not feeling cool at all with the temperature today. No, I can imagine not. It's pretty gross out there. I've got the aircon on in here. The advantage of doing these live streams in my house is I can have it lovely and cool, but the aircon units themselves are actually nowhere near here, so you can't hear it when they kick in. Sally says she's going to post a pic on the Facebook page. Thank you, Sally. Diamond says my mum loved my clovers so much she stole one and took it back to Victoria with her. ABS says, is it just AU abs? I'm sorry, I keep reading it out because I think I'm messing it up. I find they also slide through the wool better. Yeah, I personally think definitely better than the hooks I was using. I think it's pretty similar to the tulip. I found though that with the tulip, they end up tapering further down, so they taper all the way to the grip, whereas these guys taper through to here, and then it's your stitch size all the way through to the grip. So for me personally, my stitches move up and down. I don't do all my work right here on the throat, or right here at the beginning of the shaft. I move my yarn around all over the place, so I need to have the right width all the way to the handle, and I think that's the only real difference for me between the tulips and the amours, is that the tulips taper all the way to the grip, whereas the amours only taper to sort of the beginning of the shaft here, so you can see it. It sort of tapers in to about there, and then it's your 4 mil all the way through, whereas the tulips sort of keep tapering and tapering, so you kind of got to go a fair way back to get it to your actual stitch size. But that's, I mean, they're still a good hook, don't get me wrong. Sounds like Andrea needs to get a new one. I think Andrea already replaced that one. Gamer Widow says her mum did something similar. I stopped her by distracting her with a new pair of socks. I love that. Christine, I'm not sure what you missed. You probably missed something. You can always rewatch. Kim says the tulips only taper on sizes smaller than the 4. Oh, there you go. I didn't know that. I mostly use 4 mil and down. I don't use much above a 4 mil. So when I'm crocheting, so I'm doing an 8 ply on a 4. I'd probably use a 4 or maybe a 4.5 on a worsted. But I tend to use smaller yarns. So yeah, that's right. And Kim says, seeing you're loose and you usually drop a size, it's more of an issue for me than for others. Absolutely. That's totally true. Looks like lots of mums are thieves. Sally's mum tried to steal her stuff, but she bought hers instead. Because she happens to know really well. Sorry, my mum did almost the same thing till I told her to buy her own from someone she happens to know really well. Okay. I don't know if my yarn is going to make me a blanket. Like I'm only, what is that, like 1.5 hand widths, and I've definitely used look, I'll be getting close to half the yarn. They feel entitled because they gave us life. I love that justification. Oh, excuse me. Kathy says she's tried an Addy and didn't like it. The throat and the shaft were really short, only about an inch long. Yeah, I mean, like these guys, they're not that long. I mean, they're probably an inch and a half or maybe 2 inches, but I wouldn't put them much more than that. If you're used to like the boy hooks where you've got no rubber gripper, then you're probably going to struggle a little bit. I know when I very first changed over to using these gripped hooks, I did struggle a little bit as well because I was so used to having so much space to do stuff on that it felt weird. But I also could feel the difference in my hand straight away, so I persevered. So it'll definitely change. Just use abs, it's easy to remember. Okay, no problems. I'll try to remember abs. I just wanted to double check that I wasn't stuffing it up. No, you can't change your name. Kathy Breyer loves the Clover more and the Clover Soft Touch. I'm not the biggest fan of the soft touches, aka the poopy golds. I'll use them for sure, and I've got a couple, especially in 3mm. I've got a couple sitting in my sort of tool chest, but I definitely prefer the Amore over the soft touch. The soft touch are definitely lighter. Like if weight is an issue for you, the soft touch are definitely a lighter hook. But I just find I like the Amore, which is why they make multiple types, because we all like different things. Spanachik says, I couldn't work out how to hold the Addy comfortably. I felt like I should be brushing my teeth instead of crocheting. Oh, really? I haven't tried the Addy. I kind of find something I like and just stick with it until I can't have it anymore, and that's when I go looking for something else. I'll be so sad if anything ever happens to Clover or to Xiaogu, because we're like, oh my God, what am I going to use now? Oh, gosh. Yeah, see, I have a problem with the Furls hooks along the similar line. I think they're beautiful and I love them, but I really struggle to use them. So they kind of become a bit of an art installment for me, because I just really struggle to work out a comfortable, because see, this is how I crochet. This is my natural way to crochet. But I struggle, like if I don't have the space. I'm just having a look at what I've got to do. It's just 3 and then straight into here. There we go. I think I'll just flip my work. And let's go back along the edge. I'll tell you what though, guys. Like in this, changing how I set this up, it's meant, like I've got like more lights on, like the actual house lights are on. And it's really shown like how nice and well lit this space I can have if I had different lights, because it's just a bit bizarre. I'm not sure what I'm going to do to solve this problem that I have. But out in the shack, I really struggled to light this workspace in a way that I'm happy with, but this time around it's just working. I'm very happy. Game Widow says, furls don't suit me either. Their grip is wrong for my hands. The Furls art installation. I've got a few of them now. I love them. I think they're beautiful hooks. I just can't use them. I end up like strangling them and like having to overhand them, and that feels unco. Addie Day loves her furls, and Addie Day, I think you pretty much exclusively use your furls, and I watch you work with them and I'm so jealous. I want to work with them. Sally is the same, like they're pretty, but they're just a bit awkward to use. Yeah, and look, I think I agree with you, Marion. I think that furls are better for a different style of crocheter. I think that they're better for the overhanders than the underhanders, honestly. Addie Day, are you an overhand? Oh, yes, there you go. You knife hold. There we go. Because that's what I was just thinking. Maybe you do prefer. So the furls are better for knife holders. So maybe I'll give it a try with knife holding, because I can knife hold. Because I made sure that when I was learning to teach that I could do a few different things enough to make stitches so that I could teach different people and show them their options. Because I think it's important as a teacher to give people all the sort of necessary skills, or give them the options so they can work out what's comfortable. Because I love to pencil hold, but I also know that when I first started, I was told knife holding's the way to do it. Like, you have to crochet like this. Any other way is incorrect. And I remember a few years ago, well, quite a few years ago now, a friend of mine, she watched me crocheting like this, and she was just like, oh, that's torture. And she literally hit me over the hand and was like, that's torture to watch here. Crochet like this. And it took me a little bit of practice, but after a 6 mil or a 10 mil wrapped across the back of my knuckles, I kind of sort of stopped doing it. But this was how I used to crochet all the time, was overhand like this. But look at that, my stitches are actually visibly tighter by going overhand. So, and I think it's because I slow down and I really do that. But yeah, I when I'm teaching, I find out which way people are the most comfortable holding their hooks, and I teach them the way that suits them. Addie Day says there's no wrong or right way, it's all about comfort. I agree with you. Now, back then I was like, oh, okay, I'm doing it wrong, am I? But yeah, this is definitely the more comfortable way for me. I feel like I have more control, and that's when we're all different. So yeah. Where are we? Kathy says, I hold the hook both ways, but I get better tension when I pencil hold. I probably get better tension when I knife hold, but I definitely can work faster and just as even. Like let's have a look here. Can you? I mean, they're a little bit shorter. I definitely pull a bit more when I'm. Yeah, there's a definite difference, but not huge. Spanish Chick says there's no right or wrong way, but if you don't do it my way, I can't help you. Well, I try to learn all the different ways so that I can help people find their way. So that's why I can continental knit, I can throw. I'm not as good at picking, and I can't do Portuguese knitting or combination knitting. I still want to learn how to do those. I've got some classes. You can't see. Oh, sorry. Good point. So yeah. So it's definitely. Ab says pencil grip for me. Not that I knew that. I was out of shot. Thank you. I think I'm back in shot now. Left-handed pencil, right-handed knife. Yes, I'm ambidextrous. Oh, I wonder what I do when I'm crocheting with my left hand. Hang on. It might be knife for left hand. Hang on. Yep, I'm a overhand when I left hand. Okay. Who knew? No idea. I didn't even click that I used different hands, different styles for different hands. Come on, little yarn bits. Go over where I want you. Well, I learned something new about myself. Shintami says, I can't imagine not using the pencil hold. The other feels so unnatural. Yeah, and it's just practice. Mel says, watching you do that makes me want to pick up my Bendigo Woolen Mills blanket that I haven't touched in ages. I highly recommend it. I think you should pick it up. I think you should give it a pat, at least. And remember how nice it feels in your hands. Ab says, my left palm near my thumb gets sore when crocheting, holding the work. Is there something else I could do to stop that? So your left palm, so where you're holding your work like that. Well, I mean, it sounds like you might be like holding onto it quite tightly, and you kind of don't need to. You're kind of just resting it in your hand and sort of just lifting it up a little, just to sort of see what you're doing. So you don't need to hold it as such. You just sort of rest it, if that makes sense. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to crochet for a second and see what I do. So I actually, yeah, there we go. I've worked it out. Hang on, I just want to do the next stitch just to double check. Sometimes I have to do stuff to work out how I do it because some of it's just muscle memory and I don't think about it. But yeah, so basically I'm pinching these 2 stitches, but everything else is just resting. There's no tension in the rest of this hand, in my left holding hand. So I'm holding this finger and this finger. They are on here holding the space for me to work into, right? but everything else is loose. And, you know, I think if I was holding it like in a grip, I would end up with a sore hand. But you may also just need to stretch as well. You might just need to stretch your hands and bring that hand back and pull your thumb a little. Not too hard, just enough, just to pull it back, just to stretch these muscles through your hands. That's a really big thing as crafters, is we really need to make sure we're stretching. And not just doing this. That's great, that's helpful. But you really need to make sure that you're stretching all the muscles through here. Like I was showing you before, you need to stretch everything. So stretch it back and pull it back. You'll feel it pulling in the back of your hand. And you'll be like, oh, geez, I didn't realize I was making that so tight. So, yeah, you've got to stretch it back. And it's like you have your hand and then you pull it back. So, like, you don't do it that way. You do it like that, it's easier. But here in the camera, trying to show you. So you've got your hand flat, but then you pull it back and you can see it pulling. And then you pull your thumb and it pulls through there. Just a little, not too much. But yeah, so you've got to keep stretching your hands and give them a break, and then you move on. Pick up your stitches and off you go again. Oops, I split the yarn. I split the yarn, you guys. Where are we? I was showing a left-hander how to crochet and just realized I use different grips. Yeah, like that's the thing, isn't it? It's not until you go to do it that you're like, oh, hold the phone. I'm not doing that how I'm describing it. Where are we? Nothing. Oh, have I missed a comment? Nothing has changed except the world has gotten smaller. Now we know what's regular for us is not necessarily regular for others. Absolutely. It's like I'm noticing some Americans are asking questions about DK and why we talk about DK, and not even just in fibrific stuff, but in lots of other groups. And it's because DK yarn is being used and talked about more widely. And I think a lot of American crafters are realizing that it's only US crochet patterns that use US crochet terminology. The rest of the world use different terminology, unless they want to release their patterns in the US and then they translate them. That's what, Adobe, do you only write your patterns, if you're still in the chat that is, do you just write your patterns in US terms, or do you use US or Australian or UK? Where are we? There's more options now, absolutely. Ab says that helped, I feel better, that's awesome. Jacob's going off topic here. Here we go. Does anyone else have to hold their cat like an infant for at least an hour a day? I don't have to hold my cat like that. I definitely have to hold Snowy like that, the dog. She's hilarious. Mr. Tibbles has taken to his decoy blocking mat like you wouldn't believe. Now it's a case of, are you ever coming out of the craft room? He's like, no, I've got a blocking mat, I've got a guard. But yeah, no, not the cat so much, but definitely the dog. Sally Schilling's computer froze. Oh no, Sally. We need to do a live hand stretch video, like a virtual aerobics class for hands. I should probably just make a video on it, but what I want to do is I'll actually want to talk to a physiotherapist and get a proper person who's qualified to talk about it, to talk to us about it. That would be awesome. So that I can put that on my list of video ideas. Spanichick says like a patting the cat and saying hairy baby. Yes, absolutely. Hey Jacob, have you seen those hoodies with a cat pouch? You totally need a hoodie with a cat carrier on it. You just need to put a shoebox and a keyboard on his blocking mat. Like, I don't even think he cares anymore about anything else. He cares no longer about anything except for his blocking mat. And like he just because he has to jump on the desk to jump over to it. And the first time he jumped up on the desk, I thought, oh no, here we go. And he did. He just bounced straight back off the desk over to his blocking mat. Sally says, my cat just plonks himself on top of me. I can do that. Gamer Widow says, I can offer massage therapist 2 cents. I'm qualified. Oh, awesome, Gamer Widows. But you're too far away for me to do a video with. Are you in Brisbane somewhere? Because I'd love to have a video, like I'd love to do a video like with them talking through it. I'd love to bring the camera and the lighting and all that sort of stuff. Oh God, you're probably right. Or maybe I should just crochet a baby holder thingy. Yeah, you could do that too. And then you can have your hands free. You could like have a hugger bub, but for Peter. Peter's Jacob's cat's name. A hugger Peter. Oh yeah, you need one of those backpacks with the round port. But Peter likes to be at the front. Hey Aunt Ida. You could do a Zoom meeting and record it. Yeah, totally, actually. That would mean that they would have to, like the actual physiotherapist themselves needs to have a decent camera so that we can see what we are supposed to and not supposed to do. But yeah, this could totally work, you guys. Yes, I am. Work is based together. Oh, awesome. That would be great. Spanish says, my 8-year-old does it to me. I feel like he thinks he was a cat in a past life. Yeah, look, Abby's nearly 15, and she will still come up and just lay right across me, like, hello, and she looks up at you like, hi, and you're like, hi. You know, you're much bigger than you used to be. Jacob could wear the backpack backwards. Good point, Spanish. Good point. Game Widows has a baby carrier you can have, Jacob. Oh, we got Jacob sorted. Jacob, hit your local thrift store if you've got one. So yeah, look, we've got ideas for videos. We've got all sorts of stuff. Yeah, postage to the US would be pretty rough. Oh, sorry guys, I've just realised my hands are moving out of the shot again. I've got my camera a bit further over than usual. I'm just in a different setup. It's just temporary. I'll be back in the shack next week. So yeah. Would you mind explaining the brace for your arm again, please? I've been having that pain you were talking about. So it's, look, I'll try and find it and grab photos and put it in the fun zone. But it's basically a long thin strap of like stretchy, and it's got Velcro, so you can wrap it around and Velcro it on, but it's got this sort of like oblongish, oblongy piece of like thick, I'm going to say like neoprene, like wetsuit material or something, and what you do is you sort of place that here and then strap it on, and it just holds this in place. And it just puts just this little gentlest bit of pressure. Like you don't like make it like that. It's this gentlest bit of pressure, and it stops the tendon from hurting. And it just supports that tendon a little. And so yeah, it's probably got a name. I will find out from my physio. I'm sure she told me what it was called, but I just was just like, yeah, stick it on me so I can do things. But yeah, so it's basically it's a tendon support. For your forearm, basically. Spanish says, it's a daily thing where I'll be sitting in a chair and Maddie will climb up onto my lap. He's absolutely a mummy's boy. He really is. Enjoy that while he's doing it. Jacob says, Steph, consult your doctor and a physio first. Absolutely. You need to be always double checking all this stuff because it could be a bigger problem. You definitely need to be checking with a physio or some sort of physical therapist first, absolutely. Because you could also be hiding, like you could be using this to hide a larger problem. And for me, I was at the physio, and the physio were the ones who told me about it, and they supplied it and put it on me and showed me how to fit it correctly. So it's definitely worth the visit to go and find out. I believe it's I don't know if it's a sports compression strap. I don't know. I don't think it is. I don't know. I totally don't know. But definitely go and talk to your physio about it. Because, like, for me, it was part of a much greater problem, and we were trying to get me, like, I had damage in my wrist, in my hand, in my fingers. I've still got nerve damage in fingers. It was part of a greater problem. And so, yeah, definitely speak to someone about it. But that's, if it ends up just being a tendon problem, then it can totally, if it ends up being a tendon problem, it can totally solve that. At least enough for you to be able to get on with your life a little bit. Ooh, nails. Oh, thank you. yes, I'm still working on growing my nails. These are not my nails. These are nails very beautifully made for me by All My Nails and Beauty. Thank you, Narelle. I'm actually enjoying them. I've been having to file my nails because my nail is actually growing, so it makes this thing go out further. And it's just like they're too long for me to do things. I cannot pick things up. So I'm like learning how to file and how to shape. So don't look at the shape too much because I've hacked them to bits. But I'm enjoying it. Jackie says, totally. I had tennis elbow problems and it was actually caused by a problem in my neck. Fixed my neck, elbow stopped hurting. There you go. See, our body bits are all interconnected. We have to be careful. Allegra's got to hit the PO. So have fun at the post office, and I'll catch you later. Allegra, before you run away, I have your cable. Chowgu supplied me your replacement cable. So, yeah, let me know how you want me to get it to you. Jacob said, same with my back and my knee. Yeah, look, I have a similar problem. I do a lot of different physio and chiro and things like that. Everything's interconnected. I mean, it's literally interconnected. I'm up to putting the parchment in again. All right, let me just, I've got to look at this for a second because this is not part of the pattern. I kind of just do it. Do it. Let me look. So here it's got to be, is it just one? I'm just double checking it mirrors the other end. That's not it. There it is. Yes, it's just one. Okay. There we go, in that thing, do that, pull it through. That's the technical term. I'm an excellent teacher. Just ask me and I will tell you. Chiro is a great, look, I love chiro. Not everybody does, but I definitely do. Computer mouse can also be a contributor for tennis and golf elbow. Oh, absolutely. I've got one of these mouses, right? It's got like a little indent section for your hand. I found this made a big difference, but I want to look at the ones that have just got the big where you don't actually move your wrist, you rest your hand on it and move the ball. I want to try one of those. I've never tried one, I've seen them. But yeah. Melissa, welcome. She's back from a meeting and off to part 2 of her workout routine. Mesmerized by the quickness of my hands. Oh, thank you. Crocheting is my happy place. I love to knit, but I definitely use crochet for healing. Does that make sense? Heals my soul and heals my body. Fig jam, trackball. Thank you. Yes. Who's talking about fig jam? Yeah. I'm good. Just ask me. Of course. Sorry. It just took me a little second. What did I do there? I just invented a new place to stick the stitch after half a blanket. So Kylie's saying hi to everybody. Allegra says she's going to hold Allegra's cable hostage until Allegra comes to IKEA. Look, that's definitely a possibility for sure. The trackball one, I've been looking at them and I've heard that they're better on your wrists. I just haven't used one, so I don't know. Orbital mouse had one. It was broken by my husband. What did you find? Did you enjoy using it? RSVP for next week's Caffeinated Crafters. Absolutely. Right click the link. Love to know who's going to come along to Caffeinated Crafters next week. It's not tonight, it's next week. So it's the 1st and the 3rd Thursdays of the month. Next Thursday is February. I cannot believe it, but it definitely is. Did he rage break it? He probably did. Kerry says I changed to a Verdi mouse when I did a lot of spreadsheets at work. I don't know what a Verdi mouse is. I'm going to have to look that up. Yeah, Sals, we know you'd love to come. We're definitely going to have to sort something out one of these days. I can feel my throat getting raspier and raspier as I'm going on. You'll have to come to IKEA. It's going to be her first time and it's just before her birthday. Oh, there you go, Alison. See, you've got to now. Spanish chick, get the one where the ball is on the side so you move it with your thumb. Otherwise, you'll have to move it. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. It's kind of like a weird shape. You kind of rest your hand on it and you move it around. Yeah, it's definitely the thumb. Yeah, that's what I've been looking at. I just haven't bought it yet. It's definitely going to be the next Patreon funded piece of fibrific equipment is a new mouse so that I can try and work longer. Why do I feel that you were not? Because you're right, I didn't, but it's there, so you know. Chitami says, I just got an ergonomic keyboard and mouse for work. It takes a huge difference and I find normal keyboards super annoying now. Yeah, see, I can imagine that. Lydia would love to come. Lydia, next time you're at home, you can come, for sure. Gamer Widow says it was an earlier model and took up heaps of space. There is a Logitech wireless one. That's the one I'm looking at. I'm a bit of a Logitech girl. I love Logitech. Hello, Logitech Brio. Logitech mouse. I've got a Logitech keyboard, wireless keyboard. Sorry, I just got really short of breath. Hang on. Sorry about that, guys. The Verti mouse is tall and has buttons on the side, not the top. It changes the angle of your wrist. Jacob's got an ergonomic keyboard. It's got a big jump in the middle to reduce the wrist angle that you type at. Helps fight RSR. So I've not too much problem with my keyboard because I don't do a lot of hardcore typing, but I do a lot of mousing about. So I'm finding the mouse to being a bit more of an issue. I think also with the keyboard, because I've got smaller hands, I'm able to it just sits all right. There's some keyboards that are definitely better than others, for sure. So yeah, we got rid of our bamboo tablet thing. It never got used. I don't know what that is. Oh, it's a Wacom bamboo tablet. I don't know what that is, Kim. No idea. I've never heard of it. I have the Logitech Pebble mouse because it's flatter and more portable for travel and for live stream modding. Yeah, look, I've got some smaller, because I've got like little hands, right? I've got smaller hands than my 15-year-old daughter. And some mouses are a problem because they're just big. Like this one's not too bad, but the mouse we've got over on our desktop, it's a little bit wider. So my hand sort of sits more like this on it. Whereas this one, it's smaller and I get to wrap my hand around it a bit. And so that's why I've got this one, but my husband likes the bigger one. But I know that the Logitech ones that we're looking at, they're bigger again, but you hold them differently. It's like a ginormous trackpad with a pen that you use. So it's like, I've seen those, yeah. Like, yeah. I definitely prefer a mouse, I think. I mean, I've not used one, so I could be wrong. Tablets are great if you use a pencil correctly, unlike me. Like, what's the correct pencil you use? I'm concerned now. Maybe I use pencils wrong. What's the correct pencil usage? Oh my gosh, guys. Yeah. Medical typists so need good keyboard. Yeah, like Chintami, you live on your keyboard and you type all day. It's literally what you do. If you don't have a decent keyboard, then it's insanity. You should see how I hold one. People yell at me. Really? Okay, I've got to grab a pen or a pencil because I need to work out if I've got a crochet hook. So when I'm writing, I write like this. That's how I hold my pen. So it's like, you know, that's it. Jacob's also a lefty. Okay, so when I'm left-handed writing, let me think. I have to curl my arm around when I'm left-handed writing. Yeah, so it's like that when I'm left-handed writing. Yeah, photo in a fun zone, Jacob. We need to see this now. So yeah, so when because I'm ambidextrous, so yeah, so it's definitely, and I write like that. With left-handed in general, like as your hand slides across, because I find that when I'm left-handed writing, my hand slides across more, whereas when I'm right-handed writing, my hand is raised above it. Sally says lefties are the best. I don't know if I agree with that. So yeah, I have to curl my hand around. Yeah, no, I definitely slide my hand across because I'm creating that. Yeah. Anyway, that was a tangent and a half, wasn't it? All right, guys, it is past time. You tried to trick me, Kim. I know it was you trying to trick me. Like, let's make her not look at the clock. I've looked at the clock. I've got things I've got to do. I've got to get some people's D-stashes in the post today. But yeah, that is correct. My mum was a teacher. Okay, thank you, Christine. I appreciate knowing that I'm holding my pencils correctly. Darwin says I have death grip. Well, we have a fresh take on things. Yeah, we do. Lefties are more highly evolved. Wow. And that's why lefties smudge stuff. Sally says every lefty I see writes with their hands bent, but I don't. But I think, like Sally, you'd be used to it, wouldn't you? Like, what? I mean, let me think. I bend my hand a little bit. Oh yeah, I could see how it could be done. Anyway, total tangenting, guys. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna finish. I'm not gonna lie. I am gonna finish this row before I stop. But I'm gonna go and put all these things back in the shack. I'm gonna get some work done. It's been so much fun hanging out today, and I found that it's been really, really enjoyable. Just sit back and chat and talk. I know it's a bit weird, it's a bit different. I've also got to switch on the NBN, which, you know, is horrible, but I've got to do that today too, because the guy was really kind and nice, but said it will definitely switch over, so I need to make sure I'm all good. But I will see you all here next week at Fibrific here on YouTube. If you want to keep chatting, jump over to the Fun Zone on Facebook. I'll talk to you all later. Bye. Oh, I've got to stop the live stream in the right spot. Bye.